Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, and today I want to talk about growing up on the spectrum undiagnosed until the age of 31 and the impact I feel that it had on my life. I also wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I just got my first email from YouTube saying I hit my first milestone, which is 100 subscribers. So thanks to everyone who has subscribed. If you're new here, subscribing and liking my videos is a good way to help support me and lets me know that I should continue to make this kind of content for you guys. I do want to say trigger warning, I think is what it's called. I do talk about some things people would maybe classify as abuse or maybe neglect. Some people might say it's just tough love. I guess that's for everyone to decide on their own. Again, please, not again, you can't pick your family, and please remember that in this video. I do talk about very personal things. Growing up, these are all true stories, events that have happened in my life, and I open up because I don't ever want this to happen to any other female ever. I don't think that this is appropriate behavior in a household, and yeah, I just want to disclose that first. Maybe if you're sensitive for this type of topic, maybe you shouldn't watch this video. I also talk a lot about religion. I grew up in a very, very religious household. I grew up in the LDS Church, which stands for Latter-day Saints. Most people know us by Mormon. So I'm going to start. So I'm going to talk about growing up in a conditional love household, or at least what I thought was conditional. Well, I didn't know it was conditional love, and being on the spectrum, I didn't understand what was going on and why I was being treated this way. So I'm going to go over a few things that you shouldn't do if you have a child on the spectrum. And I mean, even if you're not on the spectrum, but if you have a child on the spectrum, please do not do these things. These are all things that I wrote down I wish didn't happen to me growing up. So let's start. Number one, you never feel good enough. I never felt good enough for anything, really. So growing up in the LDS Church, we strongly believe in eternal life, eternal family, and I feel like every single lesson I ever had something to do with the afterlife. Eternal family, that's why we're here. And my mom married my stepdad and had my other sisters, which meant they were eternally sealed together. And say everyone was to die in a car accident, I would not be eternally sealed to my family. And this ate at me. This dug deep inside me, and it really bothered me. And I would bring it up to my mom. How come you can't take me to the temple to get sealed? And I didn't realize at the time that my parents were just kind of they shouldn't have been active members in the church. But anyways, I never felt good enough. I never felt like I belonged. I always felt like something was wrong with me. Why couldn't I be sealed to my family? And I felt like this was a conditional love. I felt like if I wasn't good enough, then I don't know, why couldn't I go to heaven with my family? And it made me very, very tired at the end of the day as well. And I didn't know these were feelings from being on the spectrum. So number two, they drain you of energy. My mom absolutely drained me of energy. I used to pretend to be this person that I couldn't be. She used to force me to babysit a lot. So growing up, again, in the LDS Church, women are just we're just taught to please our husband and to have kids. That is literally our only purpose. And my mom made me feel that this was my only purpose in life. And I was so scared because being on the spectrum, I don't really realize when it's time to eat. My hygiene probably is not the best. I could probably maybe wash my hair a few more times than I do, but it's just hard for me. I'm so sensitive to the water hitting my skin. It really hurts me. It feels like acid's like burning me. So again, back to my story. She would make me babysit, and I would get very, very tired of trying to, oh, I wasn't trying, I was doing it. And it would just drain me of energy watching my siblings for, I don't know, however long she was gone until my parents came home. And by the end of the day, I was tired. As soon as I got home, I'd go to bed. And I didn't I didn't think this was normal, but it was my life. It was the only thing I knew. And yeah, please don't do that. If your kids reach out and say, I can't do something, please listen to them. A lot of kids use that as an excuse, but consistency, if a child continues to do something or say things for multiple years, then maybe you should look into it. It's not just a phase, something's going on. So number 3 is you dread seeing them. I dread going to church on Sundays when I was a little girl. I knew that the lessons were going to be about family and I was going to be left out, and nobody knew what was going on inside of my head because, again, autism is a communication problem, a social skills problem, and I didn't know how to verbalize how I was feeling. So it made me break down and cry, and I would get very anxious all of the time. And my mom didn't care. She was there because that's what my dad expected her to do. Again, I mean, that's just kind of how we are taught. So number 4 is for conditional love is they fall short for the little moments. And what this means to me, again, this is how I interpret things. This is my YouTube channel. So just because something doesn't work for you guys, it works for me, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's see. They fall short on the little things. And what this means is I remember when I was moving out at 18 and I was so excited. I think it was 18. Yeah, it was 18. And I was so excited because I could finally get away from my mom. I was shocked that nothing drastic happened to one of my sisters while I was watching them because I was so scared. I could barely take care of myself, and my mom is having me watch other human beings, and she just didn't care that I was terrified about doing it. She just said it would come natural. But when I turned 18, I was so excited to move out because I felt independent, and my mom wasn't supportive. This is falling short of the little moments. She couldn't congratulate me. Actually, my mom wouldn't even let me take my shower curtain when I moved into my first apartment with my cousin. I mean, she was that bitter that I chose to be independent and go to college and try. I have a son, and when I was 18, he was 2 at the time. And I didn't want to be my mom. I wanted to be everything. She taught me that the only thing she really taught me is that I didn't want to be her. And that was very motivating to me. So number 5, they're highly judgmental. Again, that kind of goes with the other bullets I have talked about. My mom never had anything nice to say to me. She was extremely judgmental. I remember when I got married, she didn't have anything nice to say about that. She couldn't even just congratulate me. I feel like this is very damaging, especially if you grow up on the spectrum, because I'm a very literal person, and I remember what you tell me. And for my mom never to congratulate me, even being 16 and pregnant, I ended up getting my high school diploma versus a GED or just dropping out altogether. And she never supported me on that. She never congratulated me, and it was just, I never really understood it. I think it was a jealousy thing, and I think, again, this is growing up in a conditional love household. If you guys like my content, please comment, like, subscribe. It really does help support me, and I have actually cut all ties with my family. I don't talk to my parents anymore because I feel like they do more damage to my mental health than anything. When I came out to my mom that I was on the spectrum, she actually laughed at me and told me, "You're not autistic." And that was one of the last times I ever talked to her. She has never been supportive, and I feel like I moved actually cross country to get away from my mom, thinking maybe if I put distance, miles in between us, that I could still have a relationship. But no, it doesn't work out that way. And I guess why I talk about religion and my personal, like my home life, is because they go hand in hand in my religion. All of our morals, our standards are all, we go to church on Sunday for 3 hours. That has changed about 2 years ago. It's only 2 hours. But growing up, again, the stories from when I was a little girl, growing up, we went every Sunday for 2 hours. On Wednesday, I went to Achievement Days, which was a couple hours on Wednesdays. And then every summer from the age of 12 to 18, you go to girls camp, and I dreaded all of these things. Every single thing is based around eternal family, And when I tried to speak out, and hey, I feel left out. This is something we are supposed to believe in, because I didn't realize my parents were just doing it for show, that it just ate at me. All right, where are we? So they're highly judgmental. My mom has never been supportive to me, and if I feel like if I'm doing better, which you usually want your kids to do better than you in life, she would uh, just be mean, just say horrible things to me. Okay, number 6, you can't express your opinion or feelings around them. Conditional love, this is very true. I learned to just keep my mouth shut. If I spoke up in any way, not only did my mom make me feel stupid for the way I felt, she would tell everybody. She has no idea how to keep a secret, and in the Mormon church, gossip is a huge thing. I'm sure you have heard about that. Some of the stereotypes and things also go on in the Mormon religion. It's very hard. Gossip is a huge thing. So I would go to church and all of the other girls would laugh and talk behind my back. Come to find out, it's because my mom would tell the other moms the weird things I would do at home, which I didn't think were weird. To me, they were very tomboyish. I loved doing boy things, and this made me the odd one out at church, especially with the young women. And I never felt wanted again or loved. I just felt like an scapegoat for my family, because that's what I was there for. I was there to blame. I was there to be a babysitter, and that's all God wanted for me. And it was not very fun growing up. So you can't express your feelings around them. And then number 7, they have unreasonably high expectations of you. This is so true with conditional love. They only want to come around and acknowledge you when you're doing amazing. And I always fell short in this. So I'm going to tell you guys a very personal story. Again, remember, you can't help who your family is. You can't help what family you're born into. And when I was 16, I became pregnant. And I became pregnant because, well, I obviously know why I became pregnant. Everyone knows how that happens. But anyways, I was so nervous and scared because I felt like I couldn't take care of myself. And again, what I mean by that is like I never really knew when it was time to eat. I knew there was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it wasn't something that came naturally to me. I didn't realize I was hungry until I would hear my stomach growling, or I never really regulate like pain properly. I would know something is hurting when there's blood, or when maybe something shouldn't be in that position. And I was so scared to be a parent. I came to my mom at 16, pregnant, and I actually remember telling her this. And I was so far along. My first appointment, think it was my first appointment. I was very far along, and I found out I was having a boy. And my mom was so excited that I was having a boy. She didn't care about my mental state at all. All she could see is this was the boy she always wanted. And my mom, this was the point in my life I knew I meant nothing to my mom. And I felt like the church just ruined my life. I felt that, why did God make me this person who felt like I couldn't be a proper parent? I wasn't going to make a good wife, and it just ate at me. And I knew at that moment that my mom didn't care about me. She chose her own needs and wants and desires of having a family and continuing our last name over my mental health. And I knew that she would help me along with my son while he was an infant, which is this stage that, kind of scared me the most. They need the most amount of care. And luckily, my mom was really good with babies. But as soon as, you got older, she could just kind of discard you. And luckily, I really was thriving then and knew what to do as a parent. But I was so scared because she didn't want to be my mom. I guess I share that story with you because I knew that I was going to fail as a parent, and my mom didn't care. She has unreasonably high expectations for me, and being on the spectrum, these are things that need to be heard. If your child, especially if you have a daughter and you think she may be on the spectrum, or she was just diagnosed being on the spectrum, please listen to her feelings. We know what we're capable of, and being pushed to do things can be traumatizing to us. I still suffer from flashbacks of being forced to do things and being so terrified that I was going to put someone's life in jeopardy because nobody listened to me when I said I wasn't able to do something. So the next one is number 8 is they shut down conversations. I purposely put this one last because I have gone to my parents, my mom, multiple times trying to understand why she did certain things she did when I was growing up. And she will just shut the conversation down and just start crying and become what I feel like is the victim. She's always done this growing up, and I just thought that's how someone processes their emotions. But someone who doesn't have unconditional love, would sit down with their child, no matter how uncomfortable the situation is, and have that talk. I remember asking my mom multiple times about, relationships, being intimate. And I felt like if she would have sat down and took the time to understand why I was asking these questions, maybe she would have realized that it's because I don't understand these social cues. And obviously, at my age, these are things that are going on in my life at school at that age, and I was nervous and didn't understand. And instead of shutting me down and just not having this conversation, a lot of things could have been avoided. And a lot of hurt could have been avoided on my end. I was very drawn. If a boy was to say, "I love you," well, that's all I understood. He's saying, "I love you." He must want to be with me forever. And I didn't understand that that was a word to be used to manipulate people. And I remember trying to come to my mom one time and asking her these things. And her response most of the time is, "You'll know when you're married. You'll understand when you're married. That's not appropriate. We're not going to talk about that." And I could tell her body language, she'd just get uncomfortable. She'd leave the room. She'd get very aggressive in her tone. And this just isn't okay. So that's all I want to really talk about when it comes to my home life. I've had some parents reach out to me asking me, "Oh, what can I do? What can I do as a parent to support my child?" And I really tried to sit down and answer these questions, but instead I came up with this, what not to do, because that's really all I know as a parent is what not to do. So I'm still trying to figure this out as I go. And so because I want to follow up with the church thing, I reached out to my bishop after a few years ago, and I wanted to know why these things were accepted. And I have such a hard time with that word, acceptable. And my bishop actually clarified that none of this is okay. This is all things that went on in my home behind closed doors, and if my bishop would have known about these things, they could have been stopped or corrected, or just this isn't how it is, how we do things in the LDS religion. I am still an active member, and I really am on my faith journey to try and figure out if this is the place for me. Being in the LDS religion is very strict. We have rules, and if you don't fit into it properly, just like this, then you feel like an outcast. But I have to also remember faith is a personal thing. Some people are there to socialize, but for me, faith is a personal thing. It's a personal journey, and asking questions and speaking up is how you find answers. And if you're not going to advocate for yourself, no one else will. So I highly encourage anybody who's out there on a faith journey or just trying to advocate for yourself and not understanding why you feel like you're so different, don't give up that quest on finding answers for yourself. I'm still out there doing it. That's one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel. My video is getting kind of long, so I am going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, please leave some comments, ask questions, follow. I can't wait to talk to you guys later. Thanks.